Oh, what's up guys, welcome back to another video, and today we'll be looking at what is currently happening to the Memphis Grizzlies team. We saw them last year. They did really good in the playoffs. They actually took the number 2 seeded Spurs and really put up a fight against them, and we all thought they were going to do really good this year, but they are not. They are actually doing terrible this year. So let's see what is happening with this team this year. Before we get into this, make sure you leave a big thumbs up if you like this video. If you like all my content in general, make sure to subscribe for all the content. Of course, if you want to see it first, make sure to turn on the notification bell. Grizzlies have struggled a lot this year. They are 8-19 this year, 27th in the league in record, 14th in the league in the West. There's only 15 teams in the West, in case you didn't know, so they of course are in front of the Phoenix Suns and then the Memphis Grizzlies. And to add insult to injury, in their last 16 games, they have won one of those games, putting them in a record of 1-15 in their last 16 games. They also fired their head coach, David Fitzdale, 2 weeks ago. Since that firing, they are 1-7. How did the team that was 7th seed in the West last year and gave the Spurs a run for their money in the first round of the playoffs last year, how did this team become this? Well, one thing hurting this team is the loss of Mike Conley throughout the year. He has been plagued with injuries, and throughout his career, he's been injury prone, but he's only played 12 games this year. But the Memphis Grizzlies, of course, Mike Conley being very injury prone, have gone without Mike Conley before. But the difference this year is they lost a lot of key role players, such as Tony Allen and Zach Randolph. Well, now they have Marc Gasol to carry the team. He leads the team in points per game, rebounds per game, blocks per game, and the most shocking and probably the most sad, assists per game. Yes, Marc Gasol leads the Memphis Grizzlies in assists per game. And the worst thing about this is he averages 5 assists per game. That's it. So the highest assist leader on the Grizzlies averages 5 assists per game. Wow. And besides the fact that he leads the team in assists, he's also the worst. Oh, well, not the worst. He's one of the worst in efficiencies. In players that are 7 feet tall or higher, who played at least 10 minutes per game, Marc Gasol is the 16th most efficient out of that filter. There are only 25 players in that filter, so he is 16 out of 25 on that filter. That is not good. A non-efficient player who literally leads the team in assists is not a good player to carry your team. And I hate to add more insult to injury, but add insult to injury, it doesn't sound like Marc Gasol wants to be in Memphis. Marc Gasol has been a must-watch player. He is not on the court, but off the court. He has said a lot of stuff, and he has been fined $15,000 for, going off on fans during the game. He has not been fined for what he said in the interview. His interviews have been pretty good. Well, at least his interviews have been pretty clean. He hasn't sworn at anyone. He hasn't, gone off on reporters. But he has said some stuff about his teammates. Well, let's give a little background information before I give you these interviews. In the last couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks ago, there was one game against the Brooklyn Nets. It was 82-77. The Nets were up, and Marc Gasol's warm-up gear never came off. That was with 8 minutes left in the game. And he sat out 8 minutes of the game in crucial time. And after the game, he said this: "I'm more angry than I can show it, and frustrated." A couple weeks later, Marc Gasol went off on the Grizzlies' defense. So not on the coaching staff anymore, on the defense, saying it was selfish and very inconsistent. Also called the state of the team embarrassing and sad. Marc Gasol went into his teammates again when one reporter asked him if the losses affect the other player. Mark said everybody has to look in the mirror and take it personally as a man. Marc Gasol said one more thing about his teammates, saying, when guys don't play with urgency after losing 12 out of 13 games, that's mind-boggling to me. What? Wait, Mark's firing at everyone. He is going crazy right now. He's just going rapid fire on the whole Memphis Grizzlies team in the past month. He's just teammates effort, boom, right in the gut. He's just firing. Team defense, boom. He's just going crazy. The state of the team, boom. Marc Gasol cannot be stopped. He's a beast right now, but not on the court. He's a savage off the court, which I think he needs a little bit more savagery on the court because the Grizzlies are 14th in the West. So Marc Gasol, with a 30% usage rating, is talking about how trash his team is. We're talking trash about the owner's team. He has 3 more years on his contract. He will make $26 million next year, and he is 32 years old on the decline. He can't carry a team on his own anymore, as we see with this team. And getting traded to the Wizards or the Raptors would be awesome, I think. I think that'd be one of the most interesting things. But I think it's time for Marc Gasol's, little time as a Grizzly to be over. And I think after all the smack Marc Gasol has talked about the team should grant Marc a trade. Now, for Mike Conley, we aren't sure how long he will be out, but I would hold on to him for the rest of the season or year and see how he does. If he struggles, get a pick, trade him for a pick, and start 100% rebuilding. If he thrives, I'd say get another star to pair up with him in free agency. But Marc Gasol and Mike Conley aren't getting it done anymore. And I think it's time for that era in Memphis to be over. So thank you guys for watching. Of course, if you like all my content, make sure to leave it big thumbs up. And of course, subscribe. Of course, leave a comment down below on what you think. Here's the question. Do you think they should trade Marc Gasol? Or if they shouldn't, tell me why you think this team could possibly do good. Do you think they could make the playoffs if they keep Marc Gasol and Mike Conley comes back in a couple weeks? Let's say 2 weeks from now. If Mike Conley comes back, will this team make the playoffs? Or do you think it's time to trade Marc Gasol? There are a lot of players that want to be traded, and it's an interesting time to be a NBA fan because everyone's trying to beat the Warriors. And if they're not trying to beat the Warriors, they're probably trying just to rebuild and start to rebuild for the next couple of years. So what do you think the Grizzlies should do? Rebuild? Or do you think they should let this play out? I think they should rebuild and then see what happens with Mike Conley. But it hasn't been getting it done anymore. Mike Conley and Marc Gasol just aren't working together. Well, it has, but it's not going to win a championship or even make it to the Western Conference Finals. So I don't see the point of having this team if there's no chance, literally no chance of making the Western Conference Finals unless James Harden, Steph Curry, Durant all get hurt in one season. The Grizzlies don't have a shot. It'd probably Carmelo Anthony need to get traded, Karl Anthony down. It needs to be crazy amount of injuries. But leave it down below. That's just my personal opinion. Make sure to tell me what you think down below. Thank you guys for watching, and see you soon. Hey.